Hello, welcome to that 90s Wrestling Podcast. We're finally celebrating the year of 1991. So we've seen many ups and many downs, but it's award season. We've got plenty of awards to go through. So joining me to do the awards from the Badlands, Mr. Paul Tolley and Mags. How you doing, lads?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
That's actually popped me. That was brilliant. Yeah. And a Happy New Year.
Cool. And from Unbooking the Territory, we've got Dan and Rob. How you doing, lads?
I can't get over Merry Christmas.
Oh man, I'm crying. That was brilliant.
I don't know if the Merry Christmas was funny or watching Mags just tear up over it all. I'm very good, James. How are you? It's almost like it's almost like the same conversation from the last podcast.
Yeah, the one from 20 minutes ago. It made me laugh as well, funny enough, because I think I was listening to Badlands last week, the episode you done with Kurt, and I think you recorded it back in December or something, so it was weird. You was talking about 2020, and we're already in February, halfway through February.
It's just COVID. COVID meant that we were able to just get way more guests than we normally. And we used to be say 2-3 weeks ahead, Paul, and now we're 6, sometimes 7 weeks ahead. We need to take a break, maybe. Well, some of us need to take a break. Paul's forever taking breaks.
The longer the gap gets, the more perilous it gets that you accidentally pick a nonce for your for one of your Mount Rushmores and then forget.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
And Rob, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I was wondering if you were just going to skip my introduction there. I thought we're already cruising into the podcast.
It's all right, Rob. I thought we were going to skip my plugs at the end of the last one. So,
Cool. So lads, 1991. So yes, a bit of a mixed season, and it's some good shows and bad shows, some ups and downs, but it's awards season. So before we take that step to 92, we'll celebrate the year of 91. So our first award night is a tag team of the year for 1991. So we'll start with you, Rob.
I've gone for the Legion of Doom. Again, maybe a bit of an up and down year, but obviously by the end of the year, they're the biggest tag team in the WWF. Started out with a bit of a lackluster Royal Rumble. They were both individually in the Rumble match. Match of Power and Glory at Mania. Then they win the championships from the Nasty Boys at SummerSlam, as well as saving Andre from the Natural Disasters with Chuck Norris's title belt in Andre's hand. And then they were in the main event at Survivor Series. Bit of a weird main event with the Big Boss Man against the Natural Disasters and IRS. But no, they were clearly, the biggest tag team of the year. So I kind of had to go with them.
Cool. And I forgot to mention it. So what we'll do, we'll throw a nomination apiece in, and then just decide amongst ourselves who's the winner. But I'm in agreement with you, Rob. I wrote down Legion of Doom. I just agree with everything what you said. Such a big year coming into this company and becoming champs and remaining as champs at the end of the year. And like you said, how many tag teams do you see main event the end of a show? And that's what they've done, Survivor Series. And gotta go with LOD myself. So that's my nomination. You, Dan?
We're 3 for 3, Legion of Doom. Only thing I can really add to what you guys have said is that they had the most pay-per-view wins of any tag team, and like you said, coming into the company, winning the titles, it doesn't really get much bigger than that. Nobody else, sort of across the shows we watched, no other tag team, really put together a run of matches, so it had to be LOD.
Cool. And Mags, are you going with the Reaper Man, $1 Million Man?
No, I mean, I can actually make a case for the Nasty Boys. The fact that they picked up the titles and then obviously lost them to Legion of Doom at SummerSlam. And that was actually their only run with the tag titles. Me and Paul were doing a podcast recently where we were looking at one-time champions, and that was their only run with the WWF titles, which was absolutely shocking. But yeah, this year was the year of the Legion of Doom. Came in absolutely hot. I mean, like Rob said, it was lackluster in the Rumble, but squashed Power and Glory like bitches, like jobber bitches at WrestleMania. Saved Andre, won the titles, headlined Survivor Series. I mean, a tag team headlining arguably the third biggest show in WWE's arsenal. There, yeah, it's got to be the Legion of Doom for me.
And you, Paul?
Yeah, clean sweep. I think beyond Legion of Doom and like Magsy mentions the Nasty Boys, I don't think there was. Again, I think it's quite slim pickings for tag teams in 1991.
Yeah,
but Legion of Doom did manage to make big stars of themselves and were really hot. Like you said, the pop when they came out for that main event in Survivor Series was one of the few highlights of the show.
By that he means only.
One highlight.
I think that's actually. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's our first clean sweep since the first recording we did together.
Wow.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 7. I don't think we've had a clean sweep since.
Well, let's see if we can keep it going, lads.
Yeah. That's because I missed that episode.
Cool. So,
they just picked Hogan for everything.
cool. So next one, match of the year for 1991. We'll start with you, Paul.
I've gone DiBiase and Virgil from SummerSlam.
Wow.
So I don't think we're going to be clean sweeping this one.
No.
But I just loved it. I know I think I know who was going to win this one, and it was on the same show. But I picked it for match of the night on when we reviewed SummerSlam. I just think they told a fantastic story, and the crowd were 100% behind Virgil in that match, and it was great when he won.
Yeah, it was a good match, and we spoke about it. And like you said, the fans was like, and that it was a story-driven match. And like this year, like we've waxed on lyrical about the greatness of Ted DiBiase and how much he could get the fans behind. Like Virgil, no disrespect to Virgil, he's never known as the greatest wrestler in the world, but the fans was hook, line, and sinker in for that angle. And yeah, it was the peak of Virgil. But we'll go to Mags. What's your match of the year?
Yeah, I'm you made good points for Virgil and DiBiase. It's been one of the better stories of the whole year. But if we're pinning down a single match, it's got to be Brett versus Mr. Perfect for the RC title at SummerSlam. Two of the best, arguably, in the ring to ever do it. Putting on an absolute clinic. 20 minutes of just brilliant wrestling, really well worked heel and face dynamic for the workhorse title. And this was when the workhorse title meant it was the title that you put on your best wrestlers. And then afterwards, finding out that Perfect did all this with a broken coccyx, it just adds that little bit more for me. So yeah, I've got to go with that match.
Awesome. And you, Rob?
It's funny because I was talking to Dan on Skype the other night, and he said, "Did you give Match of the Year to Perfect Bret Hart?" And I said no. And I've just looked at my notes now that I did about a month ago, and yeah, I did. And I've written about passing the torch and everything, and what a moment it was. But then in very small writing next to it, I put an honourable mention for the match I thought I was going to give it to, which was Savage Warrior from WrestleMania 7. Yeah, I guess in true quiz show style, I have to go with my first answer. So I'll go with Brett Perfect.
Cool. And Dan, I think I know where you're going.
You think you do, but after speaking to Rob the other night, which was accompanied by a few adult beverages, shall we say, I was having a hard time sort of remembering matches, and I was going to. Bret Hart Perfect was the first one that sprung to mind. But I'm actually going to go for Macho Man versus Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7, because when we watched that, I've seen that match before a couple of times, but I couldn't remember it for the life of me. And just to be honest, I'm going with it because I think Warrior's a bigger hindrance to a good match than a busted coccyx. But Randy and Warrior, the managed to put on a hell of a match, but it was the involvement of Sherry as well. We waxed lyrical at the time about it, and that match really did steal the whole of WrestleMania. So, and we've had 2 picks for Bret already. As much as I love Bret Hart and love that match with Perfect, I'm going to go for Macho Man versus Warrior.
Yeah,
Cool.
I went and checked the Dave Meltzer ratings for the matches all the way through the year, and those 2 matches were his highest rated WWF matches for 1991. So you can't really go wrong with either of them. Funnily enough, he didn't really rate Virgil versus DiBiase all that much.
Cool.
If it was Tuesday night in Tokyo, he would.
Yeah, he would have.
Cool. As for me, I mean, before I get to mine, small mention. I agree with Warrior and Savage. It was a great match, and another great match was the Rockers against Orient Express at Rumble. Really good match as well. But my pick was Bret and Perfect as well. So it's just one of my childhood memories I remember, and I remember the match so vividly and how good it was. So close, but we've got to give it Bret and Perfect got the majority vote. So cool, and we'll change things up a little bit. We'll go with the wooden spoon of the year. So the worst of the 1991. I'll give my one. It's just got to be Survivor Series 91. As at the host show, but probably minus the first match, the Roddy's team against Flair. But the host show in general was just a terrible show. It really was, and it was just such a chore. So for the wooden spin of the year, that's my vote. You done? Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Are we getting a clean sweep?
Same. Clean sweep is a shambles.
The fact they used one of the big 4 pay-per-views of WWF to promote another show that was 5 days later on it was ridiculous. Yeah, it absolutely deserves a wooden spoon.
And to have a card where you can't rearrange the matches to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, that is so rare to find.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
It's not quite a hidden gem. It's more like when you're training a puppy and it's left you a little chod under the sofa or something.
The turd that wouldn't flush.
Yeah, the clinker that wouldn't wipe.
Cool.
I mean, we haven't got if Rob confirmed that it's the Survivor Series. Yeah, he might have gone down a whole other route.
I think he did.
It is the Survivor Series, and the other thing about this Survivor Series was it was the one that took us away from having all team matches, all Survivor Series matches. It sort of bust the format forever after. So it wasn't just a bad pay-per-view. Its effects are still rumbling on, 30 years later.
Yep.
Cool. So we'll go to the next one. Your moment of the year. So this is a tough one. I've got my pick, but we'll go to Rob first. What was your moment of the year?
Again, it's wrestling without wrestling. It's got to be the wedding of Randy and Liz. It's the iconic moment. It's one that everyone remembers. To be able to put on a wedding and have it be the most over thing to make SummerSlam outsell WrestleMania, it's got to be the wedding.
Cool. And you, Max?
Yeah, I've gone with exactly the same as Rob. I think the wedding was such a heartwarming moment. I mean, we know how it ended, and we know it's absolutely kayfabe. But yeah, like Rob said, to outsell WrestleMania in something that wasn't wrestling is superb. But I do have to give a little bit of a shout out. To pop Simon Powell from Chain Wrestling, my honourable mention would have been Hulk Hogan saving the world from the evil Iraqi sympathiser Sergeant Slaughter at WrestleMania.
How different things could have been now if he hadn't.
Yeah, if Sergeant Slaughter just demolished him.
He's up there with the A-bomb.
Good. And you, Dan?
I'm booking on the fly here. I did have the wedding, but controversy creates cash. So I'll be the dissenter amongst the ranks, and I'm going to go completely the opposite. Where Macho and Liz's wedding was the purest feel-good moment that there's possibly ever been in wrestling, apart from maybe Eric Young and ODB getting married in the pants in a cage in TNA. I'm going for Jake, as I mentioned on the last one, Jake Roberts slapping Liz, because again, as I waxed lyrical about it on that podcast, you guys have already listened to me bollock on about it about 20 minutes ago. It was just horrifying, and to be so effective that it pops a cynical old wrestling fan like me, 30 years later. That's my pick.
Cool. And you, Paul?
I've gone same cast members, but I've gone for the retirement of Randy Savage. At WrestleMania, we saw the match got a few votes. But I think when you talk about the most heartwarming moments, I think it was there where Elizabeth and Macho reduced an arena of people to tears.
Yeah,
by reconciling, not just the arena. I don't think everybody watching.
Yeah. So it's a brilliant match, and then a brilliant outcome, and it was kind of the start of our most enjoyable bits of '91.
Yeah, that's my answer, to be honest, Paul. The reuniting of Savage and Elizabeth WrestleMania, such an iconic moment, and obviously that's led to the wedding. But yeah, just like because the two of them's been apart for like 2 years, and obviously he's had Sherry as the valet during that time, and you barely saw much of Liz, and yeah, like the fans crying in the arena and that, two of them reuniting. So it's 2-2. So because Dan went different, but I know Dan tried to be a heel voting for Jake. Dan,
I was going to say, are we putting this to me or? Oh, right. I thought we might put it to a Twitter poll just so I can have other snarky pricks like me pile onto it. No, all right then. If I'm casting the deciding vote, it's the wedding.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Like Mag said, it was the people in the arena, people watching around the world, reduced to tears, and like I said before, the purest feel-good moment that there's probably ever been in wrestling.
Yeah, you could actually just row the two in one, really, couldn't you? Really, because it's one big story. But yeah, so it is the wedding. So cool, and we'll go to the next one. Your pay-per-view of the year. So it's not going to be Survivor Series. Me personally, pay-per-view of the year, I've got to go with SummerSlam 91. We just spoke about the wedding a minute ago, and obviously during the matches we talked about Brett and Perfect, and also Virgil v Ted DiBiase, and even like the tag team match, Legion of Doom against Nasty Boys for the titles. And to me, and I mentioned it during the review when we reviewed it, like it was one of my childhood videos I had, and like I've got such fond memories. So for me, my pay-per-view 91 is SummerSlam. So what's yours, Mags?
Yeah, same. SummerSlam 1991. You've got for me the LOD tag win that already puts it over. The uniqueness of the match made in heaven, match made in hell storyline. You've got arguably the best match of the year in Brett versus Perfect. You've got the cool little story with Bossman and the Mounter and the jailhouse match. A lot of unique things happened on this show, and yeah, it stands out for me head and shoulders as the best pay-per-view.
Cool. And you, Paul?
Yeah, I agree as well. Even though it was a MAGA hat wearer's dream, it was the best pay-per-view for me of the year for all the reasons stated above. Great matches. Great storylines, the ballsiness to headline a pay-per-view with a wedding and for it to work, and the ascendancy of Bret Hart. So excellent throughout.
Cool. And you, Dan?
Mine's actually, I wanted to say this Tuesday in Texas because it was the recency bias, and in comparison to Survivor Series, it was an absolute 5-star classic of the show. But I'm actually going WrestleMania 7. Cool. I just really enjoyed that show. There was tons of matches. It moved a lot, probably a few too many, but it went along at a fair clip. It was always entertaining. They didn't nothing outstayed its welcome really. And I'm going to try and after picking the Jake slapping us, I'm going to try and turn face here. It was the first podcast that I got invited to review with you guys.
Oh, you little soppy,
creeping bastard!
And you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm going to go for WrestleMania 7 as well. I really did like SummerSlam, but it felt like it was 3 segments. It felt like it was 3 decent segments, should I say? The wedding, the Mountie, and the Brett Bulldog. But in terms of WrestleMania 7, Bulldog Warlord. We've got the blindfold match, which was it was just delightful, even though nowadays you can see through the gauze, so that they could see what they were doing. As we said before, the Savage Warrior, Perfect Boss Man with Andre the Giant getting involved was really good. As Paul mentioned earlier, Virgil DiBiase. The crowd were on fire for that match, and the celebrity involvement. The whole sort of Marla Maples and Alex Trebek hamming it up, and Regis Philbin, and even had Chuck Norris and Henry Winkler and on it. Yeah, I'm going for WrestleMania 7.
Cool. It was a fun show. So tight one, 3-2, but yeah, two great shows. But yeah, SummerSlam just nicks it in the end. So before we get to the MVP of the year, we'll get to everyone's favorite, the mullet of the year. So quite a few nominations. I'll let you throw out first before I get to mine. But yeah, Dan, what's your mullet of the year?
I so badly wanted it to be Bulldog at this Tuesday in Texas with the with the poodle braid mullet, but it's got to be the man who stole the show at Mania. He was there. He's an absolute legend of the business. That bloke who was carrying the palanquin, the front, as you look at it, the front left, carrying Savage. When you can outshine a man that wears outfits as garish as Savage when he's got the giant hat, the feather in it, then hands down for me, palanquin guy.
Cool. And we'll go to you, Paul.
I think I enjoyed Paul Romer's mullet most throughout the year.
All right.
Yeah.
In what way did you enjoy it?
I just appreciated it every time I saw it.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not kink shaming.
I'm just confused that somebody appreciated Paul Romer.
Well, there is that. I wanted to throw him a bit of love. He appeared quite a few times in '91.
I mean, he is renowned as the worst horseman ever.
And you, Rob?
I'm going to go for Chuck Norris. I think Mag said when we did WrestleMania 7 that underneath Chuck Norris's mullet is just another mullet. So we just have to go with that. You can't go wrong with Chuck Norris.
Right. I think this might be going 5 ways. We'll go with you, Max.
Yeah, it's certainly going to go 4 ways because man is very much a biased pick. I'm going with Hawk's double mohawk, joined at the bottom by a cheeky little rat tail at WrestleMania 7. So, yeah, it's all on you, Rob.
That's on me. I've got to go Sid Justice.
I knew. That was a quality.
Glorious.
Mullet, yeah.
The pearl mullet.
I wanted to go first. I'm surprised no one else went for it. Oh, it was just a thing of beauty. I think because of the fact he's only been on one show, it didn't get shown off as much. He's only been on one show, but it was a glorious mullet. So 5-way split. So should we take it to Twitter?
I don't. With this, I think there are no losers in this category. It's just the appreciation of some wonderful haircuts.
Yeah, they're all winners in that race.
No winners.
And Twitter will only let you do 4 on the poll anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do your 4 for my to have the right to meet my pick in a decider because mine's obviously right.
Oh, maybe if we put it the Twitter will say Cesaro's got an underrated mullet.
It's the subtlety of it.
Yeah.
I think the winner of the mullet of the year is the mullet.
Yeah. It's a great award.
1991 in general because everyone who had hair had a mullet.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was a great year for the mullet.
Good. So, final awards, the big one. The MVP of the year. So quite a few nominations, really. Tough one, but we'll go to you first. Mags, we'll go to you first. Put you on the spot.
I mean, this was a tough one. I was tempted to go with Perfect for his match with Bossman at Mania was good. Arguably the match of the year at SummerSlam, and then the way he kind of like wormed his way into dealings with Ric Flair. But I think I'm gonna have to share my award with DiBiase and Virgil. The story went all the way through the year. We went on a genuine emotional journey, starting with the lows from Virgil being embarrassed after the tag match against the Rhodes at Rumble. Then you had the breakaway match with the two at Mania, the bromance with Papa, the Sherry and $1 Million Man Alliance, the match at SummerSlam where he wins the belt. Then they're on the opposite teams at Survivor Series, and then obviously the one we just spoke about on last week's Wink episode about him teaming with Virgil teaming with El Matador against DiBiase and the GOAT that is Repo Man. So I think this has been a really well told and well paced out story throughout the year. So for me, it's DiBiase and Virgil.
Cool. And you, Rob?
The way I sort of thought about this was for people who might not have watched wrestling from 1991, might be just more familiar with the more recent product, putting in perspective what the MVP of the year did. The best way to do it is to paraphrase another wrestler who'd probably have been wrestler of the year in a particular year, and say that the only thing that is real is the Macho Man, and the fact that day in, day out, for all of 1991, he proved to everyone in the entire world that he's the best on the microphone, in the ring, even on commentary. No one can touch him. He basically did everything this year.
Yeah, there's a great pick. And you, Dan?
Well, just thinking about it. I sort of looked at it a little bit statistically. Hulk Hogan main evented 4 of the 5 pay-per-views. The one pay-per-view he didn't main event, he was defending the WWF title against The Undertaker. He won at 4 of the 5 pay-per-views, including winning the Rumble, winning the title at Mania. So it was really hard to look beyond Hogan. But on the other hand, fuck Hogan, so it's Bulldog for making a feud with Warlord interesting.
Oh, that's great. Cool. And you, Paul?
It's Randy Savage for me.
I didn't know where you were going with that. I really did not know where you were going.
Sorry, Paul.
So, Savage for you, Paul.
Definitely Randy Savage. The man retired at WrestleMania, one of the best matches of the year, and still managed to main event SummerSlam, even though he wasn't a wrestler anymore. Like we said, with a wedding, managed to get that over, and then through kind of this Tuesday in Texas, him and Jake stole the show, and going into 1992, can't wait to see what happens there. So, it has to be Savage. Yeah.
I was split Savage and Roberts. In the end, I did pick Roberts because he had the run in the Royal Rumble, that great fun match with Martel at Mania, the blindfold match. I suppose I think it got shit on by a lot of people, but when we watched it, we loved it. SummerSlam, he didn't show up till after the show, like we mentioned on Coliseum own video release, the invading the wedding. And what his promo work all year was just so good. And Survivor Series, like he was probably, I forgot who won MVP that night. I think it might have been him. But tonight, the other day, 2 weeks ago, just Tuesday in Texas, he for me stole the show. But Macho Man, we've got to go with Macho Man. Like Rob said, he's done everything: announcer, commentator, wrestler, a groom. He'd done everything in 1991.
1-800 number.
Yeah. Whilst getting ready for a wedding, he was doing a 1-800 number. Yeah.
He was so nervous.
Good. So that's been great. 1991. So started off strong. Good Rumble, good Mania, good SummerSlam. Took a nosedive with Survivor Series, but I think just Tuesday in Texas, even though we mocked it, the praise, like the build-up going to it, it actually kind of saved the year, I believe myself. So, 1991, not a bad year. I still personally think 1990 overdone it. Like it's still the best year I've done reviewed since doing this, but 91, I think just Tuesday in Texas did save it at the end.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster year, and Survivor Series was definitely that drop on the Pepsi Max big one before you got before you got back to normality with Tuesday in Texas. But it is interesting to go into 1992 after this. especially knowing what we know about how good the beginning of the year is certainly. So yeah, it was a big cool little journey we're going on.
Cool. And yeah, 92 and similar to 91, I've watched Rumble 92, I've watched Mania 8, I've watched SummerSlam. I haven't watched Survivor Series 92. I've watched a couple of the matches, but I haven't watched the whole show. So it can't be no worse than Survivor Series 91.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Survivor Series
I've only seen
1992
one show
said, take my beer.
I've only seen one show worse than Survivor Series 91, and it was something I found on YouTube. I think we watched it, Rob, at the beginning of the sort of towards the beginning of the lockdown. It was this Christian Wrestling Federation show that they put together, like I said, about 2001, with the likes of Hawk and I can't remember exactly who was on it, but it was fucking awful.
Greg the Hammer Valentine was on it, and he looked exactly the same as he did in 1991.
Well, he just walked out the same bowling alley.
The Bowling Alley story, that's the best story of the year. But yeah, 1992, looking forward to it. So I've got a big year, and and to kick things off, 92, Royal Rumble 92, which has gone down to one of the greatest Rumbles of all time. So really looking forward to it. But before we go, lads, you know the score. Tell everyone where they can find you. Badlands guys, where can they find you?
Okay, so I'll go first this time, seeing as Paul went first last week. Wink, wink. I'm on Twitter at DJ Kirkby. I have the pleasure of spending pretty much every week with Mr. Tollier, and we discuss the Mount Rushmores of wrestling with a guest or two. I'm also on many other podcasts, the likes of Chain Wrestling, Five Rounds, Radio Techers, and plus many more. I'm gonna get grief for forgetting them, but yeah, I've got my sticky fingers in a lot of pies.
Cool. And where they can find you, Paul?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter. I'm at Raincounter, like Mag said, over on Chairshot Radio with him doing Badlands every week. You can get that on Thursdays. Also with Five Nerds Go, which kind of get released every now and then. And you'll find me and Mags as well soon on Sunday Brunch over at Love Wrestling. I think we're going to be doing that gig once a month, so we're looking forward to that as well.
Cool. And Rob and Dan, after coming off your 10th episode of Unbooking the Territory, where can everyone find you?
Well, we'll flip it around again. I'll go first this time. I'm on Twitter at DanGriffin21, usually spouting bollocks about wrestling that happened weeks, months, or years ago, just for any other reason other than I'm crap at keeping up with stuff. So this kind of podcast plays right into my wheelhouse. I'm also on Unbooking the Territory, which is at UTT Podcast, but I'll throw that over to Rob to explain his brainchild.
So you can follow me at UTT Rob. As Dan said, the podcast is at UTT Podcast. We'll be happy to follow back if anyone wants to follow. So Unbooking the Territory looks at all the different creative periods throughout the Monday Night War. We're starting out with Vince McMahon, moving on to Bill Watts, and then we'll be into Bruce Pritchard, and we'll get all those divisive figures like Jim Cornette and Russo coming up. So I'm sure there'll be some really interesting conversations. So if you want to give us a follow there, that'd be much appreciated.
Awesome. And for everyone who wants to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at 90s Wrestling Pod, and you can also follow me on Instagram at 90s Wrestling Podcast, and also got the TikTok. So if you and please, for everyone who's watched on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, like and share, and comment. And and if you're listening on podcast form, which you can find us on Spotify, Podbean, Apple iTunes, all them good places, please give us a 5-star rating, comment and share with your friends, and just helps the channel grow and grow. So everyone, thanks very much for listening, and our next show, Royal Rumble 92, so really looking forward to it, so we'll catch you in the next one. Oh, good.